Hello everyone, this is Beastly Eel here, and in today's video we're going to be talking about the first two episodes of Invincible Season 2. So, if you obviously have not seen these two episodes, pause, watch them, and then come and see me again, or you don't care about spoilers, or you've already seen it. Hello. So, we are going to go right into it. I do apologize if I blend the two episodes together. I watched them one after the other actually, I think it was the day I filmed this. So, that being said, so bear with me if I bounce between episodes. So the season premiere starts off with Mark beating up. Oh my gosh, what is his name? The guy who's been living forever, basically, the immortal. I don't know why I couldn't think of his name. So anyway, the two of them are fighting, and then all of a sudden, Omni-Man comes and starts ripping him apart little by little. And that's when Mark um, grabs his head and smushes it to mush. And apparently, Mark and his dad are working together, taking over planet Earth. And they're looking for the remaining survivors of the rebel army. So they go into, I'm thinking Chicago, but I'm not 100% sure. They're going to a major city, and they're wondering why the Immortal was trying to stop them from coming in. So they go in, and they start looking around, trying to figure out where they are. What they find is there's an underground rebel camp that has the remaining heroes that exist, which are the robot, both of his clones, so his deformed form and his robotic form, and then we have Eve, and I think that was it that I could remember. There might have been some other heroes there that definitely didn't have, excuse me, any names, but I digress. They apparently come in after a man brings in a device that's supposed to weaken Omni-Man. While this is going on, both so Invincible and Omni-Man break in and start ripping people apart little by little. Eve goes on the defensive, and then the the robot, grabs the matter that was given to him and blasts Omni-Man. And Omni-Man was hurt, but was able to continue fighting, and he destroyed the robots, while Mark tried to talk Eve into joining him, and that this was what's best for, um, this is what's best for the Earth. And she disagreed, and he snaps her neck. And Omni-Man goes, "Sorry you had to do that, son, but she gave you no choice." And he goes, "No, she's not dead. I just paralyzed her." And he goes, "Oh, that's what you were doing with those protesters last week. I was wondering what you were practicing for. Now it makes sense." And so Eve was still alive, paralyzed, and then Mark and Omni-Man start ripping the survivors one at a time, except for one. One particular one, who was the one that got the device that blasted Omni-Man away for a bit. A portal opened up and he disappeared. And that ends that, right? So we get back to the regular reality, where it's the aftermath of what's happened between Mark and Omni-Man. So Invincible's back where he was left bleeding by his dad just pounding him out. He then starts flying through and stopping certain things from happening, not really doing anything specific, but like just enough to stop things from happening. Stops a fire, stops some Elephant Man, who kind of gives me like Rhino vibes from Marvel, taking out a few other guys, and then goes back home, where he and his mom are still not okay. I guess the best way to put it. Invincible goes back. Mark goes back to school. He talks to Cecil, I think is how you say his name, hopefully, and asking him like, "Hey, why, I want to join and everything else." And he's like, "No." He goes, "I have to make sure I can trust you, and until you can do that, I'm not going to be putting you on the team at all. While that's happening, apparently the Guardians of Earth are battling this massive Titan um, that they're having a difficult time with and cause a lot of destruction in the sorry in the oh my gosh, why can't I think of it, in the city. And they took everything they had to take him out. um, Cecil came in and was not happy, basically tore them all a new one, saying they all suck. um, and apparently the robot guy who was cloned into a regular body was basically like freaking out because it was the first time he realized he could die, and he was terrified about it. So anyway, that being said, Cecil removed him from leadership, and the Immortal came in to take over. So the Immortal is now in charge of the entire team, and they brought a guy called Bulletproof. Um, Apparently, that's his name, and that's what he goes by. I can't make that up. So the episode is Mark trying to really figure out, like, dealing with the fact that he's afraid he's going to turn into his dad. That's really what it comes down to. End of discussion. At the end of this episode, though, he was able to get um, Cecil to agree to have him on the team, and listen to him verbatim everything that he wanted to do. There was one mission that happened where I'll get to that in just a second. Sorry, because there's other stuff happening. So, the guy who teleported through from that other universe, apparently, there's a version of him that has interdimensional travel abilities. And so he was able to bring out the brothers, the Blue Brothers, out of prison and have them help him create a device so he could then make sure that all of his minds from other universes would go into his so he would know exactly what needs to be done. Um, they agreed without a problem because they were offered a universe that would be just theirs. Mark goes in to stop them. He takes out the boys with ease, but the guy, while he's absorbing all of his minds, he opens up portals to bring out all the other brothers that he's taken, and they all start beating Mark up bloody. Once that happens, it actually overloads, and the guy takes off the helmet and explodes. So all what looked like all of them were destroyed, except for Mark. Mark gets up. They realize what's been going on. Blah blah blah. The Guardians come in, and Mark was told to go home while the Guardians were going to figure out what they needed to do here. So Mark leaves. He's all bloodied and everything else. His mom freaks out, not happy about it. And what happens next is what really gets kind of weird, because after the Guardians leave, one of the brothers comes out half burnt. Then the guy who had his helmet removed has a massive brain now that has all the memories of his past, his alternate selves, and can only see that Mark needs to be killed. And the guy's basically telling him, hey, like the brother is trying to tell him, hey, by the way, like you can't decipher which one's your memories and which ones are theirs. That's going to be a problem. And he goes, they're all my memories, and disappear and takes out of there. And the brother leaves because he's all pissed off. He's got to rebuild the body because he's half melted and he's pissed off, and how he's never going to work with anybody again. So, that being said, that ends that. In the next episode, we have graduation happening. Mark almost misses his graduation because he had to stop Professor Seismic, who nearly destroyed the Washington Monument. He took him out along with his magma people. Makes it to his graduation and able to deal with it. And then him and his friends are partying after the fact. His mother makes it to Cecil and gives him a new one, basically telling him, "Hey, go f yourself. You leave my son alone. If you think for 1 second that he's not going to follow orders, what are you going to do to him? He better not get hurt." And Cecil's like, "No, I don't plan on him getting hurt, and I really am taking it slow with him because I want him to make sure that he's actually ready for this and not just throwing him into the fire." She doesn't really believe him, but she sees the guy that got blown up in her house, perfectly fine. He starts freaking out, and she leaves. And the guy's kind of like, "Why is she freaking out?" It's because of everything that's happened. That's all he says to her. So Mark is trying to deal with what he needs to deal with. He meets with. We also see Eve, Atom Eve. She actually starts to rebuild things in the city. It makes a park and everything else. She finds out her parents aren't doing well financially, so she starts trying to make equipment to help them make stuff. And he basically, her dad gets really pissed off with her and says, "No, I can do it myself, and that you've done enough already because you don't know what you're doing." And basically explaining, like, hey, because of you, this park that you made was just caved in because it wasn't safe to build on, and you didn't think that through and decided to do it anyway. He goes, "You're not a hero, you're more dangerous because of your powers." So Eve leaves, not happy about that, and that's the end of her story. So Mark is trying to get in good with his girlfriend, who are both accepted to the same university together. He gets called by Cecil to do a mission, and the mission is apparently to go to Atlantis, where the one of the guardians of Earth were. And Cecil explains to him he's going to have to marry the queen, and it will be just for I don't want to say religious purposes, but I guess part of their law, because Omni Man isn't here, they they need his next of kin to take the burden. So he goes down there and he has to fight this massive creature. And after explaining like he doesn't want to marry her, like he's got a girlfriend and everything else, she's like, "We got rid of those barbaric services a long time ago." And he goes, "Okay, great, thank you." And it's a trial um, by fight. And so this massive crustacean comes in and they start fighting. Mark is getting beat up pretty bad. Cecil calls in for backup, blasts him, right? Um, Mark goes to get away, but that's when the creature starts to go down and starts destroying all the fish people. Mark disobeys Cecil's orders, goes down and tries to destroy the creature. What he's able to do is knock it down into the abyss, and we assume he killed it, but it's unclear because we find him later on a beach coughing up green stuff. Um, and Cecil's basically yelling at him, telling him that he's got to do what he's supposed to do and stop doing whatever the hell he wants to do. Mark's like, whatever. Then at the end, we see the big brain guy in another universe talking to a version of Invincible who was captured, getting all the details about what's going on. And then we see the Cecil of that universe, which is female, along with his agent, who is also female, freaking out on who this guy is. And he goes, "I'm just gathering information and make sure he pays for what he's done," and disappears. And the Mark of that universe is like, "Hey, you're supposed to save me. What the heck? What are you doing?" And that's how the episode ends. So those two things are happening. So one of the big things here is it looks like the main villain in this is going to be the big brain guy who is going to try to kill Invincible for the sheer fact that he wants to make sure all the marks pay for what has happened, including Omni Man as well. But because Invincible's on Earth, he has to do it that way. So that being said, it'll be very interesting to see what happens in the rest of this season on who's gonna how the battles are gonna go and everything else. But very curious on how that's gonna happen. But for right now, very happy with what these two episodes have given us. Um, Let me know what you guys thought about these two episodes in the comments below. Did you like them? Did you not? And why? And as always, if you like the content you see, please like and subscribe below. Other than that, this is going to be Beastly Eel signing out. Have a great night.